Hi, welcome to the Corner of Knit and Tea, episode 445. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Twitter and Instagram. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where every episode show notes will be, including this one. And I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my hand-spun yarns and knitting patterns. Hi, how are you? It is Monday, October 16th. I was just looking at the date on my computer, and I hope that you are doing well. This is going to be a little bit of a short slap together podcast because we are having some house issues. Yesterday afternoon, my husband went to take a shower and came out from the shower and said, well, the shower isn't draining. And we quickly realized that we are having a plumbing issue in the house, and we are lucky in that nothing is coming back up the pipes, but nothing is going down the pipes either. So last night we stayed in a hotel, which was a whole ordeal, and I am working on getting some folks out to the house to be working on things in the next couple of days, and so we are home briefly to put a few things together, and I figured I'd record a super short podcast, and then we are heading to my husband's office so we can work for a little bit for the day, and then probably back to a hotel for the next couple nights. So there is knitting happening, but there's also lots of other things happening too. So I did want to stop by and say a quick hi. So the episode is going to be super fast. I don't have tea because I do have a Diet Coke that I got this morning, but we are not cooking anything in the house because we can't wash anything. So it could be so much worse. We could have sewage in the house. We have money to be able to pay for the repairs. So I'm still counting myself blessed, but this episode is going to be just a little bit shorter than usual. So I did actually, before all of the things happened, I managed to finish my niece Roxy's socks. These are socks for my 10-year-old niece, or she will be 10 in a couple weeks, and I knit them using, this is New Garden, her perennial yarn base, her sock yarn, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. She is a semi-local dyer to me, and the set that I used to knit these was, I think, called Winter's Day, and I know the blue is called Burr, and I can't remember what the other colorway is called, and then there's also a bright red that's called Cheeky, and I'm going to use that on my socks, but I went ahead and finished a pair of socks for Roxy. So these are just a standard 2x2 rib, just straight knit, slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset, and then down to a toe. And the only thing I did do is I started the color for the toe a few rows before I actually started the decreases, so that I could get a little bit more of that fun toe on there, because with on this small a sock, the toe is only maybe like an inch, a little more than an inch, and so I wanted maybe like 1.5 inches to 2 inches, I guess probably 1.5 inches. So those are done, and they are a holiday gift for my girl, and so those will be put away to wait for the holidays. I actually went ahead and wound up another skein of yarn so that I could go ahead and work on the next pair of socks that I need to. And this is also New Garden yarn. Basically, I went to a somewhat local to me yarn shop a few weeks ago. This is actually like, this barely touched the stash. It's great. And this one is called Blackberry Jam. It's the same base, and this is what it looks like. It's just yummy. It's blues and pinks and some grays, and then it's also got a little bit of yellowy green in there, and where the yellowy green comes together with the pink, there's a little bit of red. It's just a really yummy colorway, and I'm going to turn these into socks for my mom. I don't know what the pattern is going to be yet, but that should get started this week. Maybe it may not get started this week. I have a few other things I need to be working on. So that is what's coming up next, the next newest thing on the needles. So, works in progress. I have one sweater that is in progress right now, and this is honestly all I've been working on for the last few days. And, well, I take that back. I have been working on some chicken feathers, but this is what I have been working on for the last few days, and I am almost done with the yoke. I'm not quite there. I think I have about, I want to say I have 8 more rows, so I'm really, really close, but not quite there. But what I did do is last week I went ahead and divided for the, sorry, I'm just kind of untangling myself here. Last week I went ahead and divided for the sleeves, and I think I had just done that when I showed it to you. And now I am into the bottom of the yoke. So it is a very deep yoke. It does go below the where you split for the sleeves. And like I said, I have about 8 rows left, and then I'm hoping to zoom on the stockinette. So my hope is maybe I'll even have the body done next week, but by the time I talk to you next time, but I don't 100% know because I don't know where I'm going to be or what I'm going to be doing. So this is Antique Flora. It is a design by Wool and Pine, and I am knitting it as a sample for Zen Yarn Garden in their Superfine Superwash Merino, which is a 90-10 blend of Superwash Merino and nylon, and it is really super soft. And as I've mentioned in the past, I am holding colors doubled. So in the original they used DK for the main color for the body, and then they held 2 skeins of fingering weight doubled to kind of get a marled gradient through the color work. And what I have done is we're only using 2 colors. We're using one for the color work and then one for the background, and because their Zen Yarn Garden's DK base and holding fingering doubled was not going to be a quite match for the pattern, we decided to just go ahead and hold fingering doubled throughout the entire thing, which means it's working out pretty easily. So I am knitting the size 37 bust, and I think I'm going to hit that. Yeah, it appears to fit me. I'm a 38-inch bust, and the recommendation is with, I think, 0 to 2 inches of negative ease on this one. I'll have to double check the pattern, but I think that's the recommended ease. And so this is going to be nice and toasty warm, and it's coming out really well. I have had a few little blips with my color work in terms of tension, but I think it's actually going to be fine. It actually looks kind of fun on camera. I will definitely need to go through and do another steam blocking. I kind of steam blocked the top before I divided for the sleeves, but I will definitely need to go through and do that again. But I am not concerned about the fit anymore, so now I'm just really knitting to kind of finish. So yeah, this is where I'm at, and like I said, I've got just a little bit more. We're kind of finishing up the scroll work motifs and the tulips and just whatever comes down below, and then I'll be ready to move on to the body. I'll have to go back and do the last bits of color work. It'll be 30 rounds of color work on the sleeves, and then finish those as well. So I'm excited about this. I think it really looks nice. I love the colors together, and hopefully I will have more to show you next week. This one's taking me a little bit longer just because it is color work, and I don't do a ton of rows each night. I probably do 5 to 7 rows a night, and if that, and some nights I don't work on it at all because I have other things going on, but I think once I get to the stockinette portions, it's really gonna zip. So yeah, so that is what I'm working on there. That is pretty much it on the knitting front of things. I am knitting some chicken feathers this week, but they're just black and white. They're just regular. So I took the sweater and the chicken feathers with me to the hotel last night. I did not get a lot of knitting done, but again, that's like a crazy separate story. Okay, we got to the hotel and tried to check in, and there was no one at the front desk. And I had made a non-refundable reservation, and we waited an hour, and there was still no one at the front desk. And there was a whole group of us waiting to check in, and we didn't really know what was going on, and we were afraid maybe something had happened to the person at the front desk, so we called the police, and the police came over, and it turned out that the front desk clerk in the afternoon had left, and the next person on shift hadn't shown, and so yeah. So we finally got to check in about 9 p.m. last night, and then I realized I had forgotten something important at home, my medication, so then we had to drive back home, and yeah, it's just been kind of a crazy, we had a plumber out yesterday, and the plumber couldn't do very much, so today we're having someone come look at our septic tank, or actually I've been making calls today, but I can't get anyone to come today, so it will probably be tomorrow, and then once they drain the septic and make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, then we'll have to have the plumber come back out and go through all of our lines, because the problem is he can't go through our lines right now because they're all full of water. So I basically have no spinning news. I started a spin, but I did not get very far, and I wasn't home last night, and we were like crazy all day yesterday trying to figure out what was going on, so I have no spinning to show you. What I do have to show you is a little bit of sewing. So a couple weeks ago, I was approached by Stitchcraft Marketing and Splash Fabric. And Splash Fabric is a maker of laminated cotton fabrics. And they are Ecotech certified, and they are their laminated cottons are actually biodegradable. What they do is they use a simple process to sort of coat regular cotton fabric so that it becomes laminated. And the benefits to that are that it's easy clean, you can wash and dry it, so it's perfect for tablecloths. It is food safe, so it is also perfect for reusable lunch bags, sandwich bags, bowl toppers, kind of anything that touches near your food that you want to keep fresh and form a good seal on it. This fabric can do that. The other thing that, so Splash Fabrics offered me a half yard each in 2 colorways, and let me grab them. They're right here. I should have brought them over, but I had them out on my photography station. So they offered me a half yard each of 2 fabrics, and I selected 2 colorways. This one is called Juanita, and it's just a fun floral print. And this one is called Denim. And so it's not actually denim, it is cotton, and then it's just got the plasticized coating. And let me see if I can show you, because there's a part of this that here. So you can see at the selvage, you can see where the coating is, and even though it's peeling up a little bit, I tried to peel it back and it actually won't peel off. It is a heat seal to the fabric. So that is what it looks like, and I received a half yard of each of these. And the other thing that I want to note is that this fabric is kind of special. So most fabric comes in bolts that are between 40 and 40 inches wide. So when you when you go to Joann's and ask for a yard of fabric, you get 36 inches by 40 to 44, depending on what the fabric is. This fabric comes in 58 inches, so you are actually getting between 16 and 18 extra inches for each half yard, leaving you with more fabric. So the pieces I got were, well, okay, they should have been at a half a yard, 18 by 58. And in fact, they actually cut really generously. I ended up with 21 or 22 inches by 58. So that was really nice. I guess I don't know if they do that for everyone, but I know they did for my review. And so I had these 2 colors to work with. And I should say Splash Fabric has a great website with all the information on their products. You can buy the fabric on their website, and it is a reasonable price. It is $13.50 per half yard. So it's not cheap, but it's not super expensive, and especially since they're 58-inch wide, you can actually get a lot of fabric out of 2 half yards. I mean, obviously, if you're doing something big like a tablecloth, you'll have to order more than that, but if you just want to do like a little bag, like a sandwich bag or lunch bag or some of those kinds of things, that will be fine. This is the yardage that's left after I did my project, and I'll talk to you about that. It's not a tiny project, so I did use quite a bit, but I totally have enough left that I can make a couple zipper pouches if I wanted to. So the site itself has a whole bunch of free patterns that can be made. They've got sort of fanny packs, bum bags, those kinds of things. They've got lunch bags. They've got a few different kinds of project bags and caddies. And it's interesting because they have one that's called a reversible cube. And so, or it might be called a reversible bucket. Can't remember. It's basically, it looks like a cube, basically, with an open top. And they used it for 2 things. The first thing that they started using them for was they said that you could plant small plants in there, because you can pack it with dirt and you can put your small plant in, and then you can put a little water in, and it will kind of hold the water in and keep the soil moist. And so you can use that to kind of, like, instead of a pot in your house, or if you want to, like, grow some seedlings in there and then transfer them, you can totally do that. And then you don't have to use disposable plastic pots or those kinds of things. The second thing that they have done with that bag is knitters have repurposed it as a knitting tote or a knitting project bag. It's like the perfect size for just a couple skeins. So originally I thought I was going to make that one, but then I decided it would be kind of fun to branch out and work on my own pattern. So I was trying to decide whether I wanted to do like a zippered tote for a knitting bag, or whether I actually wanted to do like a zippered, pouch for a knitting bag, or a box bag, or exactly what I wanted to do. And I came away deciding that I wanted to do kind of a multi-purpose tote. And so I will show you what I did. I'll talk a little bit about it, and yeah. So I browsed Etsy for a variety of patterns. You can find lots and lots of sewing patterns on there for reasonable between $5 and $7. And the one that I found is a tote bag. now I can't, the Everyday Tote, and it's by Sotak Designs, S-O-T-A-K. I will put a link in the show notes to that along with the fabric and everything else. And so it was kind of a lengthwise, kind of a long tote, perfect for kind of, like as a book bag, or for me, I thought it would be really kind of perfect for either doing like a farmer's market tote, or even like a day at the beach, because if you're taking your project out to the beach or the park or whatever, you know, maybe it's going to be a little dirty, maybe there's going to be sand, maybe it would be easy to be able to clean the bag. Also, the thing that I was really excited about is, I don't know about you, but I like coffee and tea, and I have totally spilled a cup of coffee or tea on my knitting bag before. It doesn't happen super often, but it totally has happened, and then I've had to run that bag through the wash. And so this one is technically waterproof. I mean, I suppose if you stick it in a pool, it might get wet, but you can wipe it dry. So I think the coffee is just going to bead up off of it if I spilled it on it. So the ease of cleaning really appealed to me, and as I said, it is food safe, so I could use it for that. So all that is to say that this is the cute tote that I made. So it's a tote with 2 straps, and then it's got a boxed bottom, and basically I did the exterior and the interior roughly the same. I made a few mistakes in that. I kind of thought about making the interior just a little bit smaller, like cutting it 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch smaller than the outside. And that kind of worked, except that right here at the top, like they have different amounts of fabric around the outside of the bag. So for instance, I couldn't top stitch because the inside is just a little bit smaller than the outside, so it won't match up. So that was one of my little oopsies. I did actually put a pocket inside the bag. So I just put a plain and simple pocket here, and I could have used the contrasting fabric, but I didn't, so it's a little hard to see. But this is the pocket here. And the other oopsie that I made is that I didn't fold down the top of the pocket for a really nice finished edge. I folded down the sides and sewed really, really neatly all around, but I forgot that one step. So basically the reason that I say that I used the pattern kind of as inspiration but then improvised a little bit is because, first of all, the tote, so the pieces that you cut for the tote were very similar but just slightly rectangular. They were 17 inches by 18 inches, and the tote was actually meant to be the 18 inches the long way and 17 inches the short way, and instead what I did is I did the 18 inches this way and the 17 inches this way, and then I cut a bunch off the bottom for the boxing of the bag. So mine is actually wider than the tote looks in the pattern. The second thing is that the tote that I selected, I thought it was a lined tote, and as it turns out, it's not a lined tote. It uses the second half yard to do binding on the inside to cover up the seams, and what I wanted was kind of a seamless finish. So I combined some of my knowledge from all of these tutorials that I've been watching for work to create a tote bag that all my seams are hidden. So basically the first thing I did was I did the straps, and I plugged them in between the outer and the inner as I sewed it, and then I sewed the sides on the bag, and then I went back and boxed the corners and finished that up, and I remembered to leave just a little bit of the bottom inside lining open, because you can see this seam that I sewed here after I was done with the project. This was the turning seam that I used, so I turned the whole bag right side out through that, so I have no exposed seams in here. So I am really proud of how this came out. I will say the fabric is technically ironable. Even though it's laminated, it is technically machine washable and dryable. They have some specific instructions for how to do that, but I ended up with a really cute functional tote, and I took some photos of my knitting in here earlier. It's a really big bag. I could probably fit 1 or 2 projects in here. The only thing that I would say is if you're intending this tote to be like super sturdy and to be used for other things, I actually didn't put any batting or shape flex or anything like that in between the 2 layers of the tote. I just didn't think about it at the time. I actually had some. And so if you wanted the tote to hold its form a little bit more, you might want to put more stabilizer in there. Because for instance, if I took this to the farmer's market and got heavy produce, it would definitely like bend out of shape. It would not hold its shape. But I do think that the fabric is fairly sturdy. And like, I don't know, I wouldn't try and like yank it apart, but it feels fairly sturdy. And like, even if I put a little something in here that that was heavier, that it wouldn't come apart. So that was kind of my first foray into tote sewing, and I'm super, super happy about it. I'm probably going to put a project in it later today, or a couple projects, so that it can go to the hotel with me, because that's where I'm going to be based out of for the next few days. But it's really cute, and I'm very, very pleased with it. And so I can't say enough good things. I should say the laminated cotton is really soft. It's really nice and flexible. It's not stiff like you think it might be, or like canvas might be, or one of those other kind of home deck fabrics. It's really got a nice squish to it, and honestly I could fold this tote up and put it in a bag. I could easily fold this up and put it in my suitcase and just have it be there's a little bit of air in there, but just have it like be an extra bag that I had in my suitcase and could pull out later, or could pull out to go shopping at, say, a knitting convention or something like that. Like, I think it's just going to be really, really useful. So a quick thank you to Splash Fabric and Stitchcraft Marketing for inviting me to do a review. And I also wanted to let you know that if you are interested in trying the fabric, they have offered a discount. So I believe it's going to be through the end of the month, although I'm not 100% certain. You should use the code KNIT20, capital K, N-I-T, and lowercase A-N-D, T with a capital T, T-E-A 20, and you will get 20% off your purchase from Splash Fabrics. And all of those details will be on, I have both a review post where I talk a little bit about the bag and what I did to it, and then I will also have my standard show notes post, which will have the information in there as well, with a link to the fabric, the pattern, and the discount code. So if you would like to purchase some and play with something yourself, then I hope you check it out. So I think that's all I have for you today. We are busy packing up and getting everything ready to get out of the house, and tomorrow's trash day, so I have to put the trash out, and I have a million things in my mind trying to keep everything straight. I hope that your life has considerably fewer bumps in it than mine does right now. And by next week, I hope to be fully invested back home and able to talk to you about more crafting. So I will say, as I always do, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.